Middle 2032. Up on the roof, at noon. The alarm rings at 1:45. Work starts at noon. At noon, the winds are at their strongest and the sun at its highest, although that would be hard to tell. Up on the roof, the cloud is so thick you can almost eat it. It has been 1.5 years since I have seen blue sky. It is an uncomfortable feeling, being shrouded in clouds. The sky seems heavier than the ground. Gravity seems confused too, and the ground trembles every other day or so. Just as I predicted in my research, the mantle of the earth is trying its damnedest to shake us off and into the clouds. I don't blame it. I roll out of my cot. Standing too quickly, I bang my head. The narrow rooms that I bargained and bartered my knowledge and soul for are as oppressive as the clouds. The plaster smells constantly of damp. I've learnt it is best to put my uniform on last thing so as to keep the dank smell at bay. I have time to spare. I close my eyes against the grey hum of the single energy-saving bulb. It does funny things to my vision. I often see shadows when trying to sleep. I can almost make out words scrawled beneath the ever-damp paint above my cot. Sometimes I consider adding to the historic document, but I don't know where there are any pens. Also, I've more or less forgotten how to write. And what would I say? Before everything went wrong, time to spare was a luxury. 5 minutes meant a status update, a new follower on Twitter, a few picture flicks to spy on friends or past lovers, a chat with a parent, a quickly scribbled birthday card. Now there are no phones. No one I know. No parents. No birthdays. I decide to be early. Maybe whoever cares about these things will notice. Maybe I'll be promoted. To what, I'm not sure. Unless you're a scientist, all uniforms are the same, so the hierarchy is still unclear to me. Perhaps this is because it needs to be. I hate that I still feel a need to please. I used to be a scientist, but I have outlived my usefulness, it seems. 5:2. My cubicle door shuts slowly behind me. I start to climb the 12 flights to the roof. I make myself recount what was before. It does get easier, the more I relive the moments. A moment for every flight of stair. 1. Snatches of blue sky in a summer heatwave some years ago. Snatches of headlines predicting environmental doom. 2. Our dogs, panting heavily, overheating. September, October, too warm for coats when we walked them in November, too wet for short sleeves. 3. Dogs starving now, bones sticking out everywhere. No reason, said the vet. Perhaps something in their food? Something in the air? I wiped some sweat from my cheek. Where is that vet now? 4. Unnatural midday darkness, heavy clouds, silent birds, silent people hurrying in the streets, supermarkets empty of the milk that was already starting to taste sour. Here, there isn't food as such, just nutrient mulch. It is a similar colour to the walls and the clouds. A pallid margin laps at everything here. It is not as tragic as you might think, even if you glance out the windows. It is reassuring, almost, that there's nothing outside to see. 5. Sleeping with the bedroom windows open on Christmas Eve, the rain hammering onto concrete outside, sheets sticking to us in the heat. I lick some sweat from my top lip and keep a steady pace, climbing up and up. 6. New Year's Day. The dead birds all over the ground. The moans as the smell began to rise. I'm almost at the roof now, almost ready to keep watch. 7. Heavy, burning rain striking us as we moved to the tower, or were moved. People in masks, hazmat suits, silent, unforgivingly uninformative, holding guns. Guns like the one I hold when I stand on duty. 8. The sadness of the holding cells. Beds everywhere, bodies supine, eyes glued to the grey ceiling. 9. The protection of the tower. The comforting whir of the air conditioning. A whine of irony at its continued use even at the planet's end. 2 minutes to go and I'm at the door to the roof. I lean against it for just a moment. It is difficult for me to catch my breath these days. 10. The questions that haunted the waking minutes. Where are the dogs now? Are they alive? Is the house on fire, looted, gone? Hushed conversations between beds, and the dawning realization that everything we once knew had been twisted. All had been heated and cooled, and was now unrecognizable. 11. Your hand, when it stopped squeezing. 12. Stepping out alone when they opened the cell, climbing up to my quarters, alone, in the tower, the new grey sky. I hurl myself against the door and fall out onto the roof. High railings loom over me. Feeling dizzy, I crouch for a moment, letting this depleted world spin around me. I wipe my cheek again and shoulder my gun. I stand, I look up, hoping to see a flying shape amongst the clouds. I gasp. It is noon. The sky is blue.